Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is Gus. Gus is the best retiree I know. No, just kidding. Gus just retired from the city of Fitchburg. How many years were you here at the city?
11.
11? 11 long years.
They were long, long. Especially construction season was very long.
Yeah, I bet you dealt with a lot of projects here in the city, and
Yes, I mean, I had a lot of projects, but there were engineers like Tracy Foss and Bill Balke who handled a lot more than me.
you had it easy, is what you're saying now?
Yeah, I really did. I was a slacker compared to them. So.
Well, you've changed gears a little bit. You're doing some teaching, but today we have you here talk about some pie classes that are coming up. I would have never known this about you, that you are into the pie baking.
Yeah, it all started when I was growing up, and my mother had me help out with apple pies, and then slowly it transitioned where she said, "Well, you're so good at this apple pie making, I'll pass that off to you." So every Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was doing the pies, and apple pie was my favorite because in the fall, you get some really good apples. I'm from the Eau Claire area, and we had a lot of good apple orchards up here. But down in Madison, there's a few good apple orchards down here too.
And right here in Fitchburg, we've got Apple Garden serving them up every year, which they just have so many choices. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, and you can pick your own apples there, except for the Honeycrisp, which I have today. Tom Olson is the manager down there, and he's actually going to donate some apples for the senior center class that I'm doing, so that I can keep the cost down for the seniors, because that's only going to be $5 per class for them.
Well, let's talk about the classes. What is up for these classes? We'll get to the dates and everything, but tell me a little bit about what folks will be learning in these classes.
Well, to make a perfect apple pie, and that's the title of the course, is on the rec site, is to really customize the pie for your taste. You have a lot of choices in apple pie. With the crust, you can have a butter crust, you can have a lard crust, you can have coconut oil. And I'm going to have two choices in my class. I'm going to have lard or coconut oil. One is more healthy, and some say that they prefer the lard crust just because that's more traditional. That's the way my mom did it. So I kind of have a secret ingredient in there, though. From America's Test Kitchens, they did a testing and a secret formula, so I got that off the internet, but
Some secret.
yeah, but there is an ingredient that you wouldn't expect on there, so
Ooh.
we'll hold that in suspense. You'll have to take the class.
Absolutely. What is let's just talk about some of the keys to making a good apple pie. I will tell you, Gus, that my grandma made a killer apple pie too, and apple pie is my favorite pie. Andrew, he's a pumpkin guy, so you're not worried about him, but apple pie, what makes the perfect apple pie in your opinion?
Well, I think there's a couple things. One is choice ingredients like the apples, and you can't get better apples than in the apple garden. But also, you want to choose the right ingredients for your crust and how you do that. And you don't want to roll out the crust too much either, because the more you roll it, the more you work at that gluten in, and the tougher it gets. So if you want a flaky crust, you have to have that secret ingredient, and you have to have either butter, lard, or coconut oil. And coconut oil I found is and it doesn't taste like coconut, but it's a very good crust on that. And I actually did a test for our public works people down there, and I did 4 pies, 2 with coconut oil and 2 with the lard crust, and then I switched out the apples also, 2 with Zestar and 2 with Paula Red. And you don't have to have, a Honeycrisp, the most expensive apple. Both the Paula Red and the Zestar, which is kind of a cross with the Honeycrisp, turned out to be really good. And I tend to not add too much sugar in there. The recipe that I have out of for the actual filling comes out of Better Homes and Gardens recipe, but I cut that sugar in half. And the guys down at the shop said, "Oh, that was fine." Some actually said it was too sweet.
Really?
So, and maybe that was the Zestar apple, because the apples can make it a little sweet too. The Paula Red is a little more tart. And this morning, I was actually baking a pie with some apples I got from my brother, and they're Haralson apples, which are a little more tart too. But I've had employees at City of Fitchburg, because last fall I brought in about a pie every month or so, and they kept asking for more. When are you going to bring in more? But I said, apple season's done. I only work with fresh apples from Wisconsin. So, but Valerie Zisman, our city attorney, actually told me that was the best apple pie that she ever had. So that was humbling to get it from her. And so I thought, wow, let's do this. So I think you've got to have good ingredients, and don't overwork it. And the other thing that I do to make sure that there's not too much moisture in the apple pie is I'll cook the apple filling just a little bit to get the water off first, and then I'll mix it in with the other ingredients, those chunks of apple. And also, you make sure you get some flour in with the filling mixture, so that'll kind of congeal the rest of the moisture, so that it won't be really runny. Because I used to have that problem where I'd cut into a pie and it tasted great, but it would be all over the plate.
So you want it to be a little bit drier, if you will, that kind of.
Yeah.
I'm just hungry sitting here listening to you. Like, where's my pie?
Well, we can start making one, and I'll have a time saver thing here. I've got this apple slicer and corer. What happens here is, and you can get it from Pampered Chef or another one here. Actually, I got this one from Goodwill. Somebody was saying that they didn't want it anymore, so all you have to do is crank on this, and it takes about 10 seconds to an apple, and it peels it. And then you have the apple all sliced up here already, and I just cut it a few more times, and it's ready to go in there. And so you just pull off the core, and you're ready for another apple.
And now you get to wash my set, too.
Well, that wasn't in my contract.
Well, you didn't sign a contract, so.
Oh, that's okay.
That's Andrew also works security here. He's not only the director, he's security. He doesn't let anybody leave without. Yeah. Gus, thank you so much for the time. The classes are going to be held on October 16th. The first one is the senior center class from 1 to 3 p.m. You said it's $5 and held down at or in the community center. Sign up through the senior center side of things, and then a little bit later in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Through the recreation department, you can sign up there and find out. I'm gonna when you turn the camera off, I hope you'll tell me the secret ingredient. So I
okay.
know.
And just so everybody knows that all the equipment is provided, pie plate and all the ingredients, so you don't have to bring a thing. Just
show up.
Just show up and get ready. And you can be experienced at pie, and just you want to hone your skills a little bit, or add to the body of knowledge. Maybe you can teach me something.
I don't know about that.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy.
I'm just kidding. Gus, thank you so much, and I'm just going to be there to sample the pie. So that's what I'm doing.
Well,
on October 16th.
I wanted to point one other thing out. We are actually not going to bake the pies there. We're going to assemble the pies into a pie, and you'll be able to take it home, because it's a 2-hour class. And if we were to actually bake a pie, we'd have to add another hour onto that. On a Wednesday night, it gets a little late. So,
hey, no excuse. Yeah, I'm only coming to try the pie. I mean,
well, I could leave one here, and you could pop it in the morning in the oven over at the
community center, yeah.
Community center, or in the break room here. So that's always a possibility.
All right, Andrew, give me $10. We'll pay this guy. All right. Well, Gus, thank you so much. Good luck with the class. Appreciate the time. All right.
Thanks,
we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.